Global markets, most importantly, diplomats globally are still getting their heads and minds around US President Donald Trump pulling out of the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, also known as the Iran nuclear deal. Here in South Africa, MTN suggesting that it may lose about 3 billion rand if sanctions are imposed on the Middle Eastern country. South Africa also imports a substantial amount of oil products from Iran. Let's get more analysis now. And looking at Trump revoking the Iran nuclear deal, I'm joined in studio by Professor John Stremlau from the Department of International Relations at Wits University. Good to see you, Prof. Thanks very, very much for joining us. You know, I need to also add to this is that our President Cyril Ramaphosa also coming out with a statement basically saying that he is disappointed at the US President Donald Trump's decision to withdraw from the Iranian nuclear deal. So I think South Africa, you know, putting its foot forward saying this is not good.
It's very important for South Africa to speak up and to speak up loudly. This is an ill wind that blows no good. It doesn't blow Africa as hard as it does the Middle East region and indeed the European and other powers that have been in this deal. But don't forget that South Africa did import a lot of oil. It was the third largest supplier before the sanctions were collectively imposed. And then when the deal went through under Obama's leadership and with the other 5 major powers to get this deal done, then the sanctions were lifted, and the prospects for South Africa, at least if Pravin Gordhan's forecasts were correct, could mean 100 billion rand trade relationship with Iran by 2025. And that's in jeopardy now, and it is not good for the rest of Africa to have this distraction and instability at the global level.
Yeah, I mean, this is it's a very worrying thing, and I think let's understand it, because some people, you just read the headline and you carry on. But if we can understand what is behind all of this, and announcing that he will revoke the deal, and the world's gone into a frenzy. Why? Why should we be so worried?
Well, you should be worried by the impact. How we got to this point is even a more troubling question, because it does relate to the decisions that really essentially one man is making. I mean, Trump, when he campaigned, I'm not sure he ever read the nuclear agreement. He certainly doesn't understand the diplomacy. But when he campaigned, because it was Obama's deal, and because he was running on this kind of racist push for the other who was in the White House, and let's bring back, make America great again for the Republican base, which is predominantly white and male dominated. And the Electoral College brought him to office, and he then delivered on his promise to the campaign that he would end this deal. He's fooled around with the Europeans. He's dabbled with them and made them think that maybe he would renegotiate. But he has been truthful to his original pronouncement, but his truth is not informed by knowledge. He doesn't know how international politics is played. And the knock-on effects that we just talked about are substantial for everybody, including the Middle East instability, where we saw shelling by the Iranians of the Golan Heights in Israel overnight. That was probably a sign that the Iranians are not happy either, even as they continue to talk to the Europeans and the Russians and the Chinese.
Yeah. I mean, talking about the Iranians, how likely are they to develop nuclear weapon capabilities?
Well, they have the capability of doing so. The fact is that they were abiding by the agreement, and even Trump does not challenge that they have been accepting and performing according to the agreement.
Now, the other signatories to this, that are part of this accord, any threats of them leaving, or what has been the major reaction from them?
Well, they're all very unhappy. The only one who benefits from this is Vladimir Putin in Russia, which takes you into a whole other domain about Trump's relationships with the Russians. But nevertheless, Putin wants to divide the Western alliance, and the British and the French and the Germans implored Trump not to do this, and he ignored them after diddling them around for months and months. And so consequently, they're unhappy, and where they'll go from here is apparently to talk to the Chinese and the Russians and the Iranians and see if you can cobble together some residual agreement that will allow for the deal to go forward, so that the companies that were getting involved in Iran, and remember, what makes this agreement work is that Iran needs to be involved economically with countries like South Africa and others in the world, because its economy is in trouble and its people are pent up and frustrated. So there was an opportunity here to bring Iran into the international community and it's now being jeopardized by Donald Trump's emotional response and his singular decision to go ahead and break the agreement.
I mean, we've heard from Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, who said that Tehran would quit the deal unless European signatories offered solid guarantees that trade relations would continue after the US's withdrawal. I mean, that's also another big threat that's hanging over this.
Well, of course, and we don't know, and that shelling in the Golan Heights last night is a reminder, we don't know what the knock-on effects of this are to Middle East instability. The U.S. has thrown in its lot with Israel and Saudi Arabia on that conflict. Trump has no plan B, and there's no indication where the United States is going to go after this decision has been taken by Donald Trump. And the Republicans are having to search their souls whether they're going to continue to support him. The Democrats, of course, are all fired up, as is the military, which wanted to see this deal continue. I mean, it's Donald Trump really on his own out, and we don't know where it's going to go.
Yeah. So again, let's come back to South Africa. We've spoken about our president's reaction. He was very fast to react, saying that this is not good. But I'd like to talk a little bit more about MTN, and I'm not sure if you are au fait with this, but I mean, in the introduction, we speak of how just one company, MTN, could lose billions through all of this.
Well, MTN had been forward-leaning in getting access to the Iranian market, which is a big market, and then with the sanctions being put on, it was imperiled, and now it has a chance to, like other European and Chinese companies, have a chance to do business in Iran under the agreement, so long as Iran was not developing nuclear weapons. And that was apparently being honored. And so consequently now the question is, are these companies going to be allowed to go, especially if they are also trading in the U.S. market? This is not maybe an issue for MTN, but it certainly is for other South African companies that want to do business in Iran, or for European companies, because the complexity of the international business law in the U.S. is such that if you're violating U.S. sanctions, which the Americans are reestablishing against Iran, then you're vulnerable. So it's going to take some sorting out. Transaction costs, opportunity costs are very high here, and it's all unnecessary. That's the thing that's so maddening.
I'd just like to end off this interview, and I know that you're not a fan of President Donald Trump.
You're correct on that.
You've never been one from the day he started running for this.
Exactly right.
Where are we going with him? Because it appears right now, and many have said it, after what has been unveiled today, I mean not today, this week, that this is making him possibly the most dangerous man in the world.
Well, all politics, unfortunately, is local, and the ill wind does blow globally. But inside America, the resistance is building. South Africa's just been going through its own kind of turmoil and getting its democracy reinvigorated. Maybe if there's a silver lining here, it'll be the reinvigoration of American democracy. But that means that they have to confront Trump.
All right, we'll leave it there. Professor John Stremlau, thank you always for your opinions here on the program, talking about the Iran nuclear deal. And he, of course, is from the Department of International Relations at Wits University. Again, thank you so much to those of you that replied to our comments or question with regard to hitting a woman, no matter what you're feeling inside. Well, we'll pick this up tomorrow, I do hope, and we'll be able to read these tweets to you and also talk about what you're saying. Under no circumstances is this correct. It is absolutely unforgivable. So let's pick that up tomorrow. We'll continue the discussion. God bless you. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye, everyone.